Hi everyone, Tony here from Lightwave Digital. In today's tutorial, we're going to be looking at how to create a basic lightsaber in Lightwave 3D. So, what first thing I did is I got a reference image, and here we go. And I'm going to use this as a backdrop as well, so I just want to use it to see where all these parts and segments are. So get yourself a good reference image of whatever Star Wars lightsaber you want to do. So this tutorial is kind of transferable. If you get the tools that I'm using, there's only a few tools I'm going to use to make this, and we're talking 3 or 4. You'll get this dead easy, and you'll be able to reproduce any lightsaber I would expect. So we're going to start by under the Create tab. I'm going to go to Disk, Numerical, and here's the settings I already have. So I've got 33 sides, 20 segments. The bottom and top is minus 400 millimeters, and the top's 400 millimeters, and then the radius 450 mil and 50 mil, which gives you this, which is about 40 centimeters long, like so. So once you've done that, you can drop the tool. Next, what I want to do is I'm going to go to the Edit Backdrop option, and for each of these backdrops, I want in the front view here, so bottom right, I'm going to load in the lightsaber at 300 mil. And then what we got is this. Okay, and so the reason I added 20 segments is because I want to move them into the places of where these parts come out. So once I've moved them in, it means all the polygons are in place. I can just simply use the multi-shift to bring them out, hopefully. I mean, we might have to add a few more. So what I'm going to do this is I'm going to maximize here in the top corner of my front view and zoom in. And don't be frightened to zoom all the way in as well if you need to. Then you're going to go to Detail and then Edit Edge. And when you go over these, if you'll notice there's 2 options. You've got the vertical and horizontal. What we want to do is we want to hover over till we get this, so the kind of edge loop is selected. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to hold down the left mouse and move them into place. So for instance, if I just do a few, so I'm going to move this into place, let's say here, and then this one will move to here. So some of these I'm going to have to move across, and I'm going to carry on doing this. So I'm just left mouse clicking on these like edge loops, and I'm moving them into places. So you see how I've moved it here and here, is so it'll make up these polygons so I can actually extrude them like so. And then I carry on doing it here as well. So for instance, this one I want to put here, and again. So I'm going to do this really quickly. The video is going to speed up. Okay, so I've moved them all into place. However, I've not quite got enough to fulfill all the edge loops I need. So to do that, while you're on the edit edge still, what you have to do is when you come up, you go hover over, look, you get these little dots. Right mouse clicking, it will give you a new edge loop, and so then you can just pull that into place, and then you can carry on doing that. Click and drag, click and drag. So you're adding the actual edge loops you need, which gives you more polygons. So now that we've got all the edge loops into position, what we need to do is start extruding them and making the sections. So first thing is make sure your saber is facing the right way as your projected image here. So we've got these little bits here that are sticking out. So what we'll need to do is let's start selecting some of these. So if we go, say, let's say every 4. So 4, miss 2, another 4, another 4 polys. like so. And then what we'll do is we'll go over to multiply, multi-shift, we'll bring up the numerical. And so the shift amount is how far I want to bring it out. And then inset to bring it in. So it's up to you how far you feel this needs to go and how far in you want it to come, like so. But at this stage I think I'll leave it at that, 6mm, 11mm. Okay, and then / to drop selection. So this then gives us a front bit here. Let's just extrude that out. In fact, let's just use the bevel. Let's bring it out like so. Okay, so next bit, if we're moving along the bottom here, so there's this bit here. So select a load of polys around the same poly loop there, like so. And then we'll just go to select and loop it. And then again, multi-shift, numerical. Let's bring this out. And again, it's up to you how far. So I've got what, 5mm, and then let's bring it in a little bit, 5 and 4. So we get that like so. Oh, I think that might be too much. Let's bring it in like that. And then / drop selection. Next, we're on to this part of the body here. So again, select a few polys, loop them. Let's jump down to multi-shift, numerical, and repeat. So we'll bring it out, bring it in a bit, same as the other one. Drop it / so then we've got the top bit. So maybe for the top bit, let's have a look. Let's select a load of polygons from the top. Let's have a look if I've got them. So maybe that. Okay. And again, what we can do is we use the multi-shift, numerical. Let's bring it up. We'll bring it in a bit. Now, the problem is with this is it's oval on the top, and I don't really want that. And it's also it's too far in anyway. So let's just bring it back down a bit. Again, let's say there. Okay, let's say I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to drop that selection, press space bar. Okay, and then I'm going to jump to points at the bottom here, look. And over here, let's use the modify drag tool. And let's just, in fact, we're just over like a line here anyway. So let's just use this grid line to move all these points in my right view up against the line like so. And again, if you want it straight, let's just move it across, so we're getting this straight line up. Okay. Like so. But what you get on here is this. Like that. Could do a bit more straighter, but we'll say that's okay. You can decide as well is, do you think this is too high or too low? If you think it's too high or too low, I mean, you can lasso tool, so right mouse clicking and holding down the right to select, and then you come over here, jump to the move tool, and then you can simply just move them down a little bit if you think they're too far. Now on top there's this, like, I don't even know what that is. It's some lines with like a little bit sticking out. So what we could do is we could just select both of these here, and then again let's multi-shift, bring them up a little bit. In fact, that's probably, it needs to come up. I think it needs to come up a little bit. That'll do. So you kind of get that. We've got the little buttons to add, which we can add later. And then we're now working our way around and down to the next bit. Okay, so next let's select this loop. And it looks like this comes out a little bit as well. So multi-shift. Let's move this out a bit. I don't think it needs to. I think that's enough. I'm just going to go with that. Okay. Drop the selection, and then we've got all these lines now. So let's select the first. So what I do is I always select a few polygons around the same loop, and then we select the loop. So then I hold shift down, select a few more, select loop, and then you repeat this all the way along. Okay, so I've selected them, multi-shift again, numerical, and let's bring them out like so, and give them a 1 mil inset, like so. / drop selection. Cool. Okay, next bit. Let's just select a few polys on this row, loop it, multi-shift, numerical. Let's bring it out 4 mil, which I think is the same as what I did then. So spacebar to drop the tool, / to drop the selection, and then we're going to do the next 3 bits at the same time. So select some polys, hold shift, select some more polys on the next row and the next row. So we've got this, multi-shift, numerical. This time we're bringing them in a bit. Let's say to about there. Drop the selection. Then we need to drop the first row. Multi-shift, numerical again. So you should be understanding this straightforward now. Let's bring this in. Just roughly, let's go to there. And again, deselect that. Multi-shift, numerical. Bring this one a bit out. And we could bring it in. Like so. Which now we're on to this bit, which we're going to leave the same. We can round these edges off later, and then we're on to this bit here now at the end. So I'm making sections of each loop, multi-shift, numerical, we'll bring it out, let's bring it in. Decisions. Let's just see what that does. And then let me select the back ones and loop them. I think what we'll do is with the back one is we'll select this poly here, and we'll just use a size, and at the bottom we're going to go to make sure it's on location, and we're just going to bring it out so we're back in line with the way roughly the original was. Let's select that loop, multi-shift, numerical, bring it out, bring it into 1 mil because it's roughly going kind of 1 mil. Not sure how high we'll go. Okay, drop the selection. Let's go and just choose this center poly because it's gone in a bit. Let's just move it. So modify, move it out. So we've got this. And then at the end, you've got this other bit that's sticking out. So while this is selected, let's just use the bevel tool. And we'll bevel it forward. How far? About there, maybe. Bring it in a little bit. I don't know if that's too far or not. Let's say that. And let's have a look. So we've kind of got the gist, the shape of this lightsaber kind of there. So next bits is to add these shapes here, these little shapes, which we can just use a box with rounded edges for them. And then maybe the circle, we can reduce the sizes right down. We'll add them onto it. Some of the edges are quite sharp. So for instance, if you've got, because they're not going to be this sharp on the lightsaber. So for instance, here looks quite sharp, this edge loop. So switch to edges. So I'm using my spacebar or bottom corner here. Let's just select a couple of edges and then we'll go select loop. Then you've got a couple of options. You can just chamfer it, which will give it that not sharper edge like so. You can try and have a go at the rounder tool. You just need to make sure it's a low number. So this number here looks 500 so it's like below millimeters is so it's like micromillimeters. I believe it's called that. If it's not, I'm sure you'll correct me. So you get a really tiny let's just make this smaller. A really tiny smooth bit, but with this stage 1 mil more about what I want. Like so, and you can repeat that on some of the other edges if you want as you go down. But now let's get on to doing these little bits here, the actual little arrows and the actual little buttons, and then we are done. Okay, so we'll get a box. In fact, we'll bring up the layers. We're only going to use one layer. And let's click and draw out an area where we can do the rough size of the box. Okay. Okay, so I'll bring up the numerical. You see the sizes, look. Well, let's give it smooth edges. 2 mil smooth edge. So basically, you're going to get something like that, which is that's all we need really. And we only really need one. So let's place that where we need it to be, which is roughly here. I think it's at this side actually, isn't it? So let's just turn on. So I've turned both layers on. I'm just going to select one poly and then press the bracket key or selections connected to select it. And then what we can do is move it in place. So obviously I'm using the picture, but the picture's not directly straight on. So what I'm going to have to do is use this view to place it like so. And how far in we want it. So we don't want it to be. We only want it to be in. So let's have a look. Yeah, it wants to be something like that. So in fact, I'd say it's probably needs to go in a little bit more. Like that. Then while it's selected, if you Control C, Control V on your keyboard, copy and paste it, and then move it directly to the side, what you'll get is 2. So we've got 2 little buttons like that. And then we just need to make the actual little lights on it. So for this, let's I mean, there's a few things we could do. I mean, I suppose we could use the disc, could draw it out like so, bring up the numerical. We don't want 20 sides, and let's just drop this right down to 3, so you get like a triangle, like so. Okay, let's extrude it a bit. Drop the section, and then we can just rotate it. Let's rotate it around and into position. Well, actually, we're going to put it into position where in line with the actual, what do you call it, buttons and stuff. Okay, make sure they're sticking out like so. Why it's selected, obviously we need to can't have it that sharp, so why it's selected, let's go to the multiply rounder tool, press numerical, let's add a few more segments to it so we get something like that. I think it'll need to be more like that. Let's have a look without. Yeah, I'm just going to say that. Okay, let's drop that section and let's turn the others on. Let's have a look where it is. Select a poly, selection connected, so you can move it around if you need, which I think that's okay, like that. Yeah, and then what we can do is we can copy and paste another one onto a new layer, place it at the side however far we want to be. Rotate tool, let's just rotate it, move it roughly into position, which I think that will be okay. Let's just have a look at it all now, like so, and then we've just about got a lightsaber kind of finished. But like I said, I'll go back to reference images. Might want to smooth off some of these edges. I don't know what's at this end, so again, but the general modeling of the lightsaber is here and done. And I've used, like I said, 3 or 4 tools, if that. And if there's quite a few lightsabers out there, and you doing the same process, you'll be able to make quite a few in the same process using just 3 or 4 like tools, and it's as easy as that. One of the last things we need to do is just make the front bit, which let's just simply bevel it out a bit, and then I'm going to hold control and then right mouse click to bring it in a couple of times, and then right mouse click to bring it back as far as you kind of need it to go. But that's kind of like the front, and I think the front's got more little details on where there's little holes and stuff, which you can do with discs. And then at the back, I believe the back has got like little bits of, it's got lots of little holes again, which you can just use discs and boolean them out, but the general shape of the lightsaber is there and done. And I think we'll leave it at that. What I will do is I will let you have the final copy of the model to download. Hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial on some of the basic options you can use and how easy it is to model in Lightwave. Thanks for listening.